So today I'm going to speak about something that I don't usually speak about, but I'm doing it because I see that it's important. And I'm calling this fix your mind to fix your business. And because with my clients, my coaching clients, I definitely see that there are, I don't really like the word mindset, but people understand what it is, so I guess it's okay. It's basically attitudes and habits that and attitude is like a mental attitude, and people have these attitudes and habits that actually hurt their business and stop them from getting results. And so I wanted to talk about a few examples that I put in one of my emails, and just maybe that will help you out. It's the beginning of 2022, and if these things are holding you back, the problem with them is that they're kind of invisible. We don't um, we don't realize them either because they're long-term habits and we've just been acting that way for a long time, or we make excuses. We have excuses for things. This is why it needs to be this way, something like that. And I'm going to give you an example of somebody who wanted to make some money before the end of the year, and so she created a promotion, and it took her a long time to get, and it was supposed to be like for Christmas kind of gift type of things. And so she worked too long on making it kind of perfect. And then when she finally got it out, because she hadn't emailed her list for a long time, she felt like she had to give them a lot of value. So she wrote this long email, beautiful email with lots of pictures and lots of value, and put the offer at the very, very bottom. And I was just pretty shocked by it because nobody was going to go through all of that and ever even see it. And the list that she was sending it to wasn't even really appropriate for that offer. They were kind of there for something else, which is why she felt bad offering the thing, because they were there for something else. And so when you do something like that, you kind of rush to do something at the last minute and then kind of don't do it in a way that is appropriate. You sabotage yourself. And so those were a couple of examples of, I wanted to give them value, and I wanted it to be perfect. And these are types of habits and attitudes that can definitely hurt us. So the first positive attitude and habit is that you're always looking to learn. And the thing is that if your business isn't successful, then there's some reason for it and you need to figure out why. And so there's learning there, right? Now you can get a coach who has gone through it and can see it, or you could take a course, whatever it is. But learning is really important. And my experience is that even people who are making 7 and 8 figures a year spend a lot of time learning, maybe especially. They read books, they have a special time for learning. So my special time for learning is usually on Saturdays, and I will take a course that I've bought or read or something like that. And then sometimes I also try things out. I'm learning by trying out maybe new software or something like that. And that's a way of learning, of course, learning how to do things. It doesn't have to be a course or a coach. The only thing I want to caution you about is trying to learn everything kind of like for free. So I do know people who spend a lot of time attending free webinars, and the webinar promises a lot, but in the end, it's a sales webinar, and you're usually not going to learn enough to be able to actually implement it. And webinars are often designed that way. They tell you what you have to do, but not how to do it. And so people spend a lot of time there, or they spend a lot of time in a group. Maybe they've signed up they're in some group and attending events. And again, they're not really going to get anything out of it that is going to be practical that they can use to improve their business. So don't spend all your time learning. You have to act. There has to be a balance of it. So learn and act and learn and act. Yeah. So that's the first one. The second one is being comfortable trying to implement what you learn on your own without having your hand held. This is how I wrote it. So you need to try things. And, sometimes, certainly if you have the money to hire an assistant who knows things that you don't know, I'm not saying that you should be creating your own web pages or that you should be posting on social media even. If you can outsource these things to people who know how to do it better than you do, absolutely do that. But everybody should be implementing strategies and implementing campaigns and so on like that. You might have people helping you with it, but you're going to have to decide what is the content that you want, and what order you want to put it in, and who your partners are going to be, all of that. And so if you learn some type of technique, you need to just try and do it. If you feel like you kind of have to have somebody do it with you all the time, you waste a lot of money. So, for example, I have a client who has an assistant but wants to watch the assistant work all the time so he can learn how to do it himself. And he's been doing that for over a year. And at this point, he needs to kind of just drop it and say, I'm going to let the assistant do it. I'm going to give the assistant the content and then do it and then review it and give corrections. Rather than being with the person all the time. So the third thing is having a regular work schedule. So I see a lot of people who don't work like, I guess they feel like, well, I don't have a boss anymore, so I can just work whenever I want. But the end result of it is that their work schedule is very erratic. So maybe they're staying up very late and waking up very late, or maybe they just are starting work very late. I start work late too. I start work at 10 in the morning, but I wake up at 7 and I have things that I do before. But you have to have a regular work schedule. You have to put in a certain number of hours per week. And if something derails that, then you make it up. You really need to be systematic, and you need to be taking tasks that you need to do and put them on your calendar, so that your calendar, between whatever hours you want to work, and whether it's 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 or whatever it is, your calendar is filled with things to do, and you do those things. And I guess that brings me to the whole concept of putting tasks on your calendar. So I remember reading a quote. I put it in one of my emails maybe a month ago. I don't have it right in front of me now, but the idea was that we only put appointments on our calendar, most people. And so what we're scheduling is interruptions rather than our work. And so make sure that your tasks are on your calendar. So I just finished doing my my annual plan, my annual plan here, which you can get if you want. It's on my freebies page on my website. And the last step of it is to put all these things on your calendar. And that's the step that I still have to do. And I'm going to use a special color for it. That's a first time idea I had to take those things and make them a special color so they stand out. So you can't just kind of have goals, because, you don't look at this paper every day. You need to turn your projects, you need to turn your goals into projects, and your projects into tasks, and then put them on your calendar so that you do them. And that's really, really important. So it's part of having a regular work schedule. The next thing is, and this is a very mental thing, but being willing to do what will make money, even if it isn't the most fun or comfortable thing to do. So you're in business to make money, and you have to accept that. Now that you're also in business to help people, and that's good. That's a good thing, to be able to make your living helping people, but you still have to make money doing that, or you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And so sometimes you have to do things that you don't like to do. For me, some of that has to do with finances, which I don't like to do. I do have a bookkeeper, I do have an accountant, but you might not. And so you might have to do that even if you hate it. You might have to write emails that you hate doing. Whatever it is, you need to do what will make money, and you need to do it regularly, systematically. I certainly see people not sending out enough emails to their list, and not staying in touch. And I see people feeling uncomfortable with the whole marketing process. So that's that one. not letting setbacks and outside events derail your work. So I see this happening a lot. And I wanted to tell you a story. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but she's a colleague. I've known her for a long time. And she tells this story about how her mother was sick in the hospital and she was sitting by her bedside like all day for days and days. But it wasn't like didn't need her attention all the time. And she needed to make money. And so she sat by her mother's bedside in the hospital and started writing her first product. And so, health issues are a good example. Um, Very often when we don't feel well, it depends, you might just be in bed all the time, which is one thing. And I don't want you to strain. But if have some issue in between that, you can't let you can't let things upset you so much that you don't work just because things aren't going right. And so different setbacks and outside events, you just still need to be into this routine that I work pretty much every day. I was in my knowledge to income roadmap, I gave an example of you're waiting online. Maybe you're waiting online to take a COVID test or whatever it is. And I figured out ways on my phone, wherever my phone is here, on my phone to dictate into either Google Docs or Microsoft Word, the online versions of these. I'm sure you can do it on an iPhone as well, and to actually dictate text. And so you can keep on creating your content. You can write an email. You can create a chapter in an ebook or whatever it is while you're waiting online or while you're watching a pot boil. There's a whole funny thing about a watched pot doesn't boil. But anyway, so while you're maybe you're cooking, but it's not at a time of cooking where you need to be actually active. So you could take out the phone if you want, and continue to work. So if the more systematic you are, the less you need to do that. So I certainly don't work while I'm cooking. Because I like to cook and I like to put my attention on that. But I'm just saying that if you have this idea, you need to get so many hours of work in and something derails it, then, you find ways to get around that. And then my last point is in that line of being consistent and persistent. So you need to be very persistent and very consistent with your content creation, with your marketing, with growing your list and finding partners. All of those things you need to be consistent and persistent with, and you need to be doing those things every week. So I don't know if that helps, but they're all really things that are very general in terms of your business. It's not like a specific business thing, but really all having to do with your attitude and your habits and how you work. And I think that that will hopefully help you. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about that. And I'll see if I can help you. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.